Hey, this is Steve. I wanted to do this quick bio of myself for anyone who's maybe looking at my artwork and wanted to know a little bit more about myself as an artist. I started painting in the early 1980s when I was in my early 20s. It's probably 1981 or 82 when I started painting seriously. And at that time I was painting exclusively in oils, or at least that's what I was trying to do. And after a couple of years, my girlfriend at the time, who later became my wife, her parents, my in-laws, were watercolors, and they encouraged me to pick up watercolor, which I did, and they worked with me for several years. They gave me lessons and a lot of really valuable critiques over the years that really helped me get started with my artwork. And during that time, I also attended Nashville School of Art, and I took predominantly life drawing classes there, but I took those for several years. During the 1980s, I painted almost exclusively in watercolors. And it wasn't until the 1990s, late 80s, early 90s, that I added oils back into my painting. I also at that time started going to some workshops. So I took a workshop at the Scottsdale Art Institute with Greg Kreutz. A few years later, I took a couple of workshops with an extremely good portrait painter here in Nashville. His name's Michael Shane Neal. And I also took a workshop with Nelson Shanks, which was fantastic. So I would say now I probably paint 80% oils and 20% watercolors, although I do love both mediums. As far as influences on my work, there have been a number of them throughout the years. I used to read extensively on art as I was learning about it, so I had a ton of influences, but the ones that stick out in my mind were the Italian Renaissance painter Caravaggio, Rembrandt, James McNeill, Whistler. But predominantly, of all the other artists, it was Andrew Wyeth that's been the biggest influence on my work. There was just something about his sense of isolation in his paintings and his sense of weirdness and his ability to control the brush and his draftsmanship, which always amazed me. Even to this day, every few years I take a pilgrimage up to Chadds Ford, Pennsylvania to go to the Brandywine Museum to see his work. I just find it absolutely fantastic. So he was definitely the biggest influence on my work, although if you look at my paintings, his work and what I do are completely different, but in my heart and soul, his work is in there. So I've been at this for quite a while. I would say almost 40 years, somewhere around 40 years now, and it's something that is just part of me. And I think it always was. Even when I first started painting, I don't think I ever looked at it as a hobby. It was always something that I looked at that I wanted to be as good as I possibly could be at it. It was something that was never a burden for me to paint. It was something I liked to do. It's even, when I was practicing doing small paintings and struggling to try to get a grasp on any of it, it was always still fun for me. It was something that I always liked doing, and it still is to this day. So that's a little bit about me. If you've got questions, please feel free to go to my website, click the contact button, send me a message, ask me anything you want about my career, my art, or anything, and I'll be glad to answer it. And I appreciate you taking the time to listen to this, and I hope you enjoy my work. Thank you.